Yo, what's going on people, and welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is good. This video is going to be on how Murda Beatz makes beats for like Migos on the Culture Free album. So if you like the sound of this, then stick around. I'll show you how I made this sample and how I did the drums. Don't forget to follow my Instagram, that's going to be on the page, as my sample pack will be dropping soon. So yeah, let's get straight into this. So the first thing I started with was this mellotron string, and it sounds sort of just like a flute, and I just made like a little melody off that, which I was going to build around. So this is what it sounds like. And then when it comes to processing on this, I didn't really do much. I threw on this valve compressor, as you can see here, just turned the lo-fi down and compressed it quite a lot. Quite a low decay reverb because I didn't want it too spatial, and then just took out some lows. Then after that I wanted to add some keys that was just hitting every 2 bars that sound like this. Nothing too crazy, just gives that like nice little feel. So the first piano, it was just like Studio Grant ambient piano, just to give it that spatial effect. And then again an upright one, just to give it that vintage and make it a little bit more saturated. And then you know me by now, I threw on a reels just to give it that warped effect. A low reverb room, as I always use. Just took out some lows and a little bit near the 300s, that was too much. And then I used this plexi tape and I used that to give it a lot more brightness. It just makes the keys stand out better. It's really nice. Then with the bass notes I added this flute, but it's just a little bit of like a build up. And the only reason I added this is just gives that extra bounce off the main flute, just gives it like that bouncy effect. And then with that I use this J37, another room reverb, just a little bit more depth, and just took out some lows again. Didn't take up too much because there wasn't a lot of low end in it already. Then I added this ambient pad just to give it a little bit more drive and atmosphere in the whole sample. Sounds like this. And with this one shot I left the release and made it really long, so it was just playing out. Added a fruity chorus on there, but I turned the mix quite down to like 10%. Then I just panned it with this shaper box so it's going left to right obviously. Then I added an open hat in the sample, it just sounds like this. The only reason I really used that is just for texture, because I turned the attack up a little bit. Then the second half of this sample I used like a strumming effect, and I used this arena ballad keys, and I just strummed the main chords and just added like little like accents and stops. And all that gives is like really like dark angelic sort of vibe. It sounds really nice. So with that, the reels as usual, just give that vinyl warped effect. Just a normal reverb that I always use. Took out some lows, didn't really need to take many because it was quite a high octave. Then I use this delay because I wanted to give it like panning and like longer lasting feeling, just to give that atmospheric ambient vibe. And as I was using quite a lot of delay, I wanted to just take this out with this resampler, just take out the high end. And then with this sample I just put it quite mono, so it was like a squashed, so the whole sample and the reverb is squashed. And then because I wanted it to be more of like a pad, like a bell, I just brought it back out with a S1 imager. And then with the sample I just added this texture and perk loop that sounds like this. And all I did with that is just brought it really down in the volume, just to give it that extra ear candy and just a little bit of a nice sound in the background that you can't really make out, but just gives that extra flavour. So I tracked that out and brought it down 2 semitones because I just wanted to bring the brightness down a little bit. And then all I did with that is just add like another wild control just to give it that vinyl effect. As you can see here, halfway through the sample I added this shaper box. I did this by half timing it, and then I used a side chain but brought the volume down so the main sample was still playing a little bit in the background. And then I just filtered it out a little bit because it was obviously down sampled from the half time, so it was a little bit more muddy. So I just wanted to get rid of the lobe. And then I brought in the keys so it sounds like this. I did that for like extra texture. All I did with that was just I pitched it up and half-timed it. Another delay just to give out that ambient vibe. Then a pan man, just pan left to right. So after I'd done that, I knew I had to do the drums, and this is how the drums sound. So with the first hi-hat, casual 2-steps, but just little accents and rolls throughout that sound like this. And then obviously the second hi-hat that just pans a different way. That just creates a nice little bounce between the drums, then a clap. Then I added this motorsport kick. So I added these 808s just to follow the bass notes. That wasn't too complex, and I just bounced them off the kick so they weren't hitting every time the kick was hitting. They was hitting before, after, or the same time. So it sounds like this. And at the end of the 808, I just had that extra bounce, like that roll. Then I just added a hi-hat and a snare that sound like this. So that was pretty much it for the drums. So this is the beat hold together. And then I have a version where I take out the main hi-hats and then it goes into the halftime bit. So yeah, that's the whole beat all together. I really liked how it come out. If you're new around here, subscribe, leave a comment. My sample pack is dropping next week, everyone, so make sure you're following my Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.